January 29, 1945. Holtzheim, Belgium. Winter has frozen the land into silence. Snow covers the rooftops, the roads, the fields. Smoke hangs low in the air. The war is almost over, but the fighting is not. Men are still dying. Fear is still sharp. And history is about to turn a quiet moment into legend. In less than 1 minute, a single American soldier will face 90 armed enemies. He will not surrender. He will not beg. He will laugh. And that laughter will change everything. But before that moment, before the gunfire and the snow stained red, there was a man. A normal man. A short man. A quiet man. His name was Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. Leonard Funk was born on August 27, 1916, in Braddock Township, Pennsylvania. It was a hard place to grow up. Steel mills lined the Monongahela River. Smoke filled the sky day and night. Life was not gentle, and neither was work. His family did not have much. When Leonard was still young, responsibility found him early. He helped take care of his younger brother. He learned what it meant to stand firm, to show up, even when you were tired. By the time he finished high school in 1934, the Great Depression was crushing America. Jobs were rare. College was only a dream. Leonard did what many men did. He worked. He endured. He kept going. He was not tall. 5 feet 5 inches. About 140 pounds. He did not look like a warrior. He did not look like someone history would remember. In June 1941, everything changed. War was spreading across Europe and Asia. Nazi Germany was unstoppable. Japan was expanding across the Pacific. The United States knew it was only a matter of time. Congress expanded the military draft. Leonard Funk's number came up. At 24 years old, he reported to the induction center in Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania. The army doctor looked at him. Short. Slim. Quiet. Probably thought he would end up behind a desk. They were wrong. Leonard Funk volunteered for the paratroopers. In 1941, airborne forces were new. Dangerous. Unproven. Soldiers jumped out of planes behind enemy lines, surrounded, often alone. Many thought it was madness. The men who volunteered were different. Airborne training was designed to break soldiers. 5 brutal weeks of running, climbing, falling, and exhaustion. Half the men quit or were sent home. Then came the jump towers. Then the aircraft. The first time a soldier stepped out of a C-47 airplane at 1,200 feet, every instinct screamed to hold on. The wind ripped at the body. The ground felt impossibly far away. The parachute was nothing but cloth, rope, and trust. Leonard Funk did not quit. He earned his jump wings. He was assigned to Company C, 1st Battalion, 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment. Training continued at Camp Blanding, Florida. In late 1943, the regiment shipped to England and joined the legendary 82nd Airborne Division. These men were veterans. They had fought in Sicily and Italy. They had killed. They had lost friends. Leonard Funk was the new man. At 27, he was older than most of them. But he had something special. Calm. Steadiness. A quiet confidence that made other men listen. When D-Day approached, Leonard Funk was already a squad leader. June 6, 1944. Normandy, France. At 1:30 in the morning, Leonard stood inside a shaking C-47 aircraft. Anti-aircraft fire exploded around them. Metal fragments slammed into the plane. Red tracer rounds cut through the darkness like fire. The plane was flying too low. Only 400 feet. But the pilots could not climb. German guns filled the sky. Leonard carried 60 pounds of gear. A Thompson submachine gun. Ammunition. Grenades. Medical supplies. Everything he would need to survive, if survival was possible. The green jump light turned on. Leonard jumped. The blast from the propellers hit him like a wall. Then the parachute opened. The noise disappeared. The world went quiet. Below him was occupied France. The airborne invasion was chaos. Planes were scattered. Men landed miles from their drop zones. Some drowned in flooded fields. Others were shot before they could cut themselves free. Leonard hit the ground hard. His ankle twisted badly. The pain was immediate. Sharp. Deep. Every step would hurt for weeks. But he could stand. He could move. And that was enough. He buried his parachute and started walking. He was 40 miles from where he was supposed to be. Alone. Injured. In enemy territory. By dawn, he had found other lost paratroopers. Men from different units, confused, scared, searching for leadership. Leonard gave it to them. For 10 days, Leonard Funk led 18 men through German-held France. They moved at night. Hid during the day. Fought only when necessary. Despite his injured ankle, Leonard walked point. He took the most dangerous position. He protected his men. After 10 days, they reached Allied lines. Every man survived. Not one casualty. For this, Leonard Funk received the Silver Star and a Bronze Star. He also received his first Purple Heart. But the war was far from over. By September 1944, Leonard jumped again. This time into Holland. Operation Market Garden. The largest airborne assault in history. The plan was bold. Capture bridges. Open a path into Germany. End the war by Christmas. The plan failed. Leonard did not know the full disaster unfolding around him. He only knew his mission. Secure the area. Kill the enemy. Protect his men. During the fighting, Leonard noticed something deadly. German anti-aircraft guns were firing on Allied gliders. If those guns stayed active, hundreds would die. Leonard had 3 men. The Germans had 20. He attacked anyway. In a violent, close-range assault, Leonard and his patrol destroyed the gun positions and killed or captured the enemy crew. The guns fell silent. The gliders landed safely. For this, Leonard Funk received the Distinguished Service Cross. The second highest award for valor. Most soldiers would never experience one moment like this. Leonard Funk would face many more. By December 1944, winter closed in. The Germans launched their final attack in the Ardennes forest. The Battle of the Bulge had begun. Snow. Ice. Hunger. Fear. And soon, news of a massacre that would harden Leonard Funk's resolve forever. The next chapter would test him like nothing before. December 1944. The Ardennes forest. Winter tightens its grip on Europe. Snow falls without mercy. Trees stand bare and frozen. Temperatures drop far below zero. Weapons jam. Vehicles refuse to start. Men freeze inside their foxholes before the enemy even reaches them. This is not a normal battle. This is desperation. Hitler has made his final gamble. 3 German armies smash into thin American lines. 400,000 men. Thousands of tanks and artillery pieces. The goal is simple and insane. Break the Allies in half. Capture Antwerp. Force a peace in the West. For a few terrifying days, it almost works. Entire American units collapse. Thousands of soldiers surrender. The German advance punches a deep bulge into the Allied front lines. The Battle of the Bulge becomes the largest battle the United States Army will ever fight. Leonard Funk and the 82nd Airborne are rushed back into the line. They move fast. No time to rest. No time to recover. Just cold, hunger, and orders to hold. Then comes December 17, 1944. Near a crossroads outside Malmedy, a small American convoy runs into an SS armored unit. These Americans are not frontline infantry. They are artillery observers and radio operators. They are not equipped to fight tanks. After a short fight, they surrender. 113 American soldiers lay down their weapons. They believe the war still has rules. They are wrong. The SS lines them up in a snow-covered field. Hands raised. Weapons gone. Prisoners of war. Then the Germans open fire. Machine guns tear through the group. Pistols and rifles finish the wounded. Men who try to crawl away are hunted down and shot in the head. 84 Americans die in that field. Some survive by playing dead. They lie in the snow for hours. Blood freezing. German boots walking past them. German voices laughing. When darkness comes, 43 survivors crawl back to American lines. The news spreads like fire. The Germans are executing prisoners. Malmedy changes everything. Before this, there had been rules. Not written, but understood. Surrender when trapped. Prisoners live. A cold professionalism between enemies. After Malmedy, that trust is gone. American soldiers swear they will never surrender to the SS. Some officers quietly pass down orders. No SS prisoners. When Leonard Funk hears about the massacre, something inside him hardens. He has already seen death. Normandy. Holland. Friends buried in foreign soil. But Malmedy is different. This is murder. Leonard Funk makes a decision. He will never surrender to the Germans. No matter what. That decision will matter very soon. January 1945. Belgium. The German offensive has failed. The Allies are pushing back. Village by village. House by house. Company C, 508th Parachute Infantry, receives orders to capture the Belgian village of Holzheim. There is a problem. Company C is under strength. The executive officer, the second in command, is dead. Too many men have been killed or wounded. Leonard Funk is now acting executive officer. He looks at his roster. Not enough infantry. So he makes a hard choice. Leonard walks into the company headquarters tent. Inside are clerks, cooks, supply men. Soldiers who have spent the war behind desks. Leonard looks at them and speaks plainly. You are infantry now. Grab your weapons. We are taking that village. No speeches. No comfort. Just reality. He forms a makeshift platoon. 30 men. Most have never fired at another human being. They are scared. They are untested. Leonard does not care. He needs bodies. He will turn them into soldiers. The march to Holzheim is brutal. 15 miles through waist-deep snow. A blizzard cuts visibility to almost nothing. German artillery shells fall nearby. Shrapnel screams through the air. Leonard leads from the front. They reach the village. Holzheim is small. About 15 houses. But every house is defended. German machine guns. Rifles. Grenades. Leonard organizes the attack. The clerks follow him. House by house, room by room, they fight. Shots echo in tight spaces. Grenades blast through doors. Smoke fills the air. By the end, the village is cleared. 30 German prisoners are captured by Leonard's group. Another unit captures 50 more on the far side of town. 80 prisoners total. Not one American is killed. The prisoners are gathered in the yard of a farmhouse. Leonard looks at his exhausted men. They are cold. Shaking. Drained. There is still fighting in other parts of the village. Leonard can spare only 4 men to guard the prisoners. Keep them here, he says. We will send reinforcements. Leonard turns and heads back into the fight. Behind him, danger is already moving. A German patrol approaches the farmhouse. 10, maybe 20 men. They wear white camouflage cloaks that blend perfectly with the snow. In the confusion, they look like Americans. The 4 guards do not realize the threat until it is too late. The Germans rush them. Weapons are knocked away. The guards are forced to their knees. Then the prisoners are freed. 80 prisoners plus the patrol. 90 German soldiers. They grab weapons from the pile. Rifles. Machine guns. Ammunition. They organize quickly. Their plan is simple. Attack Company C from the rear. Leonard's men are spread throughout the village. If 90 Germans hit them from behind, it will be a massacre. A German officer steps forward and begins giving orders. Set machine guns here. Prepare the ambush. Wait for the signal. Everything is ready. Then Leonard Funk walks around the corner of the farmhouse. He has come to check on the prisoners. Routine. Make sure the guards are fine. He is not expecting what he sees. His 4 men are on their knees in the snow. The prisoners are standing free. Armed. Organized. For a moment, time freezes. The German officer spots Leonard instantly. The stripes on his sleeve mark him as a leader. The officer steps forward and shoves an MP-40 submachine gun into Leonard's stomach. He screams in German. Leonard does not understand a word. The officer screams again. Louder. Face red with rage. Leonard looks around. 90 Germans. 4 captured Americans. 1 soldier standing beside him. The numbers are impossible. This is the moment where most men surrender. But Leonard Funk remembers Malmedy. And he remembers his decision. He will never surrender. What he does next will shock everyone. January 29, 1945. Holtzheim, Belgium. 2:47 p.m. Snow crunches under boots. Smoke drifts between shattered buildings. The sound of distant gunfire echoes through the village. Leonard Funk stands frozen. In front of him are 90 German soldiers. Some are holding rifles. Others are grabbing weapons from the ground. They are calm. Organized. Ready. For American soldiers are on their knees in the snow. Hands behind their heads. Disarmed. Helpless. 20 minutes ago, these Germans were prisoners. Now they are an execution squad waiting for orders. A German officer steps closer. He presses the cold steel of his MP-40 submachine gun into Leonard Funk's stomach. The muzzle digs into his coat. The officer screams in German. Leonard does not understand him. The officer screams again. Louder. Spit flies from his mouth. His face turns red. Veins stand out on his neck. Leonard looks down at the gun. Then he looks at the 4 captured Americans. Then he looks at the Germans surrounding him. There is no escape. 90-1. Any sensible man would surrender. Leonard Funk starts laughing. At first, it is quiet. A short breath. A strange sound. Then it grows louder. The German officer stops yelling. He stares at Leonard, confused. Leonard laughs harder. His shoulders shake. His head tilts back. He cannot stop. Later, Leonard would say he did not know why he laughed. Maybe it was stress. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was the absurdity of the moment. A man screaming in a language he could not understand. A gun in his stomach. Death seconds away. The human mind breaks in strange ways. The German officer's confusion turns into rage. He screams again, louder than before. Leonard laughs even harder. He bends forward slightly, holding his stomach, as if the situation itself is too ridiculous to accept. Some of the German soldiers glance at each other. A few of them begin to smile. A couple even laugh. The tension becomes strange. Unreal. This is not how prisoners behave. Prisoners cry. They beg. They freeze in fear. They do not laugh. For a few critical seconds, the German officer does not know what to do. Those seconds are everything. Still laughing, Leonard slowly raises his hands. His Thompson submachine gun hangs from his shoulder, the standard carry position for paratroopers. The German officer watches closely. Good. The American is surrendering. Leonard's hand closes around the grip of the Thompson. Slowly, carefully, he begins to slide the weapon off his shoulder. The German officer relaxes slightly. This is the mistake. In one violent motion, Leonard Funk moves. The Thompson swings down. The muzzle snaps up. His finger squeezes the trigger. The M1A1 Thompson roars to life. At close range, the .45 caliber rounds hit with brutal force. The first burst slams into the German officer's chest. 30 rounds tear through him in less than 3 seconds. The officer is dead before he hits the ground. Leonard does not stop. He cannot stop. The moment he fires the first shot, the choice is made. Kill them all or die. Leonard pivots, still firing. The Thompson sprays bullets across the nearest group of Germans. Men scream. Bodies fall into the snow. Blood splashes across white ground. Empty shell casings fly through the air, steaming in the freezing cold. The magazine runs dry. This is the most dangerous moment. Reloading takes seconds. Seconds are forever in a firefight. Leonard drops the empty magazine, slams in a fresh one, pulls the bolt, and keeps firing. The motion is smooth. Automatic. Training takes over. At the same time, Leonard shouts at the top of his lungs. Pick up their weapons. Pick up their weapons. The 4 Americans on their knees react instantly. They grab rifles from the dead and wounded Germans around them. Seconds ago, they were prisoners. Now they are soldiers again. The Germans are in complete chaos. Their officer is dead. The laughing American is killing them. No one gave orders for this. No one expected this. Some Germans fire back. Bullets snap past Leonard's head. One round hits the American soldier standing beside him. The man drops instantly. Leonard keeps firing. He moves. He pivots. He shoots. His men are shooting now too. The Germans are caught in a crossfire they never planned for. 60 seconds. That is all it takes. When the firing stops, 21 German soldiers lie dead in the snow. 24 more are wounded. The rest throw down their weapons and raise their hands. They surrender. Again. Leonard Funk stands in the middle of the farmhouse yard. Smoke rises from the barrel of his Thompson. Bodies are scattered around him. He looks at his men. That, he says calmly, was the stupidest thing I have ever seen. The fighting in Holzheim soon ends. The village is secured. The surviving German prisoners are marched away under heavy guard. This time, no one underestimates them. Leonard reports the incident to his commanding officer. He does not exaggerate. He does not dramatize. Just facts. But the story spreads anyway. Through Company C. Through the regiment. Through the entire 82nd Airborne Division. The sergeant who laughed at 90 Germans. The sergeant who attacked instead of surrendering. The sergeant who survived. When the recommendation for the Medal of Honor reaches Washington, there is no debate. The official citation describes a man who, facing certain death, pretended to surrender, then attacked with lightning speed and turned defeat into victory. On September 5, 1945, Leonard Funk stands in the White House Rose Garden. President Harry Truman places the Medal of Honor around his neck. "I would rather have this medal," Truman says, "than be President of the United States." Leonard Funk does not smile. He simply nods. For him, it was just another day in the war. The war does not stop after Holtzheim. For Leonard Funk, there is no pause. No moment to sit down and understand what he has done. Soldiers rarely get that luxury. The fighting continues. Orders keep coming. Men keep moving forward. But something has changed. Stories move faster than bullets in wartime. The tale of Holtzheim spreads through the 82nd Airborne. A first sergeant. 90 enemies. A gun pressed into his stomach. Laughter instead of surrender. Some men shake their heads in disbelief. Others laugh and say it sounds impossible. But no one doubts the result. The bodies are real. The witnesses are real. The village is real. Leonard Funk does not talk about it. To him, it was not bravery. It was not heroism. It was necessity. If he had hesitated, his men would have died. If he had surrendered, Malmedy would have happened again. The war moves on. By early 1945, Germany is collapsing. Allied forces push deeper every day. Villages fall. Roads open. The end is visible, but it is still dangerous. Leonard continues to lead. He has already been wounded 3 times. Shrapnel. Bullets. Explosions. Each time, he returns to duty. Pain becomes normal. Fear becomes background noise. Other soldiers begin to look at him differently. Not with excitement, but with trust. When Leonard gives an order, men follow it without question. They know he will not waste their lives. In September 1945, the war is over. Germany has surrendered. Europe is silent at last. Leonard Funk is ordered to Washington, D.C. September 5, 1945. The White House. The Rose Garden is calm. Sunlight falls on clean uniforms and polished shoes. Cameras wait. Officers stand in formation. Leonard Funk steps forward. He is still short. Still quiet. Still looks more like a clerk than a warrior. The medals on his chest tell a different story. President Harry Truman stands before him. The Medal of Honor hangs from a blue ribbon in the president's hands. It is the highest award the United States can give for bravery in combat. As Truman places the medal around Leonard's neck, he says something that will be remembered for decades. "I would rather have this medal than be President of the United States." Leonard does not respond. He does not smile. He does not pose. He simply nods and steps back. The list of what Leonard Funk earned during the war is almost unbelievable. The Medal of Honor for Holtzheim. The Distinguished Service Cross for Holland. The Silver Star for Normandy. The Bronze Star for Meritorious Service. 3 Purple Hearts for wounds received in combat. France awards him the Croix de Guerre. Belgium awards him the Order of Leopold. The Netherlands award him the Military Order of William, their highest honor for valor. Leonard Funk becomes the most decorated paratrooper of World War II. 5 feet 5 inches tall. 140 pounds. A former store clerk. A legend. Then the war ends. And Leonard Funk goes home. There are no book deals. No speaking tours. No newspaper columns. No political ambitions. Leonard does not want fame. He returns to Pennsylvania and takes a job with the Veterans Administration. The same kind of work he did before the war. Paperwork. Claims. Helping veterans navigate a system that often forgets them. Day after day, he sits behind a desk and helps other soldiers get what they are owed. Disability benefits. Medical care. Support. He understands them. He knows the cost of war. Leonard works for the VA for 27 years. He rises through the ranks. Becomes a division chief in the Pittsburgh regional office. It is not glamorous. But it matters. He marries his wife, Gertrude. She stays with him through everything. They raise 2 daughters. They live in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. A working-class neighborhood. A quiet life. The medals are kept somewhere safe. Leonard does not display them. He does not talk about them. When people ask about Holtzheim, about the laughter, about the 90 Germans, Leonard shrugs. I did what I had to do. That is all he ever says. Years pass. Wars come and go. On November 20, 1992, Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. dies of cancer. He is 76 years old. He is buried at Arlington National Cemetery. Section 35. Grave 23,734. Among the heroes of every American war. At the time of his death, Leonard Funk is the last surviving Medal of Honor recipient from the 82nd Airborne Division of World War II. Slowly, the world begins to remember him. A fitness center at Fort Bragg, now Fort Liberty, is named in his honor. A highway in Pennsylvania carries his name. In 2023, a post office in McKeesport is dedicated to Leonard Funk. Still, most people have never heard of him. They know Audie Murphy. They know Alvin York. They do not know the short, quiet paratrooper who laughed in the face of death. But his story remains. Not because of the medals. Not because of the kill count. Because of the moment he refused to surrender his mind, even when his body was trapped. The war tried to break him. It did not succeed. Most wars are remembered for numbers. Armies. Divisions. Casualties. Miles gained or lost. But wars are not won by numbers alone. They are shaped by moments. Small, human moments, where one decision changes everything. Leonard Funk's story is one of those moments. At Holtzheim, the math made no sense. 90 armed men. 1 American. A gun pressed into his stomach. His soldiers already captured. Any manual. Any training guide. Any logical mind would say the same thing. Surrender. Live another day. Leonard Funk did not surrender. Not because he thought he could win. Not because he believed he was invincible. But because he had already decided who he was. That decision did not happen in 60 seconds. It happened over years. It happened in a steel town in Pennsylvania, where responsibility came early. It happened during the Great Depression, when survival required endurance. It happened in airborne training, where quitting was easier than continuing. It happened in Normandy, walking on a shattered ankle through enemy territory. It happened in Holland, charging anti-aircraft guns with 3 men. And it happened at Malmedy, when 84 Americans were murdered after surrendering. By the time Leonard Funk walked around that farmhouse, the choice had already been made. He would never surrender to men who murdered prisoners. He would never leave his soldiers to be slaughtered. He would never give fear control over his mind. So when the German officer screamed, Leonard laughed. That laughter was not weakness. It was defiance. It broke the moment. It broke expectation. It broke the enemy's rhythm. For a few seconds, the Germans stopped thinking clearly. And in war, seconds are everything. Leonard Funk used those seconds. He did not freeze. He did not hesitate. He acted. The result was violent. Fast. Final. 21 German soldiers died. More than 40 surrendered. Company C survived. And Leonard Funk walked away alive from a situation where survival should have been impossible. After the war, the world tried to define him with medals. Medal of Honor. Distinguished Service Cross. Silver Star. Bronze Star. Purple Hearts. Foreign decorations. But Leonard Funk never defined himself that way. He did not believe heroism made someone special. He believed duty did. That belief guided the rest of his life. He did not chase fame. He did not tell war stories for applause. He did not turn combat into entertainment. He went back to work. He sat behind a desk. He filled out forms. He helped veterans who were lost, injured, forgotten. Men who had given their youth to the same war. In a quiet way, Leonard Funk kept serving. That may be the most important part of his story. Because courage does not end when the shooting stops. Courage is also patience. Courage is responsibility. Courage is doing necessary work that no one celebrates. When Leonard Funk died in 1992, there were no parades. No headlines. No national mourning. Just a grave at Arlington. A name on a stone. A place among heroes. Today, a gym carries his name. A highway carries his name. A post office carries his name. Still, most people do not know who Leonard Funk was. And maybe that would not bother him at all. Because Leonard Funk did not act to be remembered. He acted because it was the right thing to do. His story teaches us something important about war. And about people. War does not favor the biggest. It does not favor the strongest. It does not favor the fearless. War favors those who keep thinking when others stop. At whole time, Leonard Funk did not calculate odds. He did not imagine glory. He did not picture medals. He thought about his men. He thought about Malmedy. He thought about what would happen if he failed. So he laughed. And while the enemy hesitated, he moved. That is courage. Not the absence of fear. But the refusal to let fear decide. President Harry Truman understood this when he placed the Medal of Honor around Leonard Funk's neck. I would rather have this medal than be President of the United States. Not because the medal was beautiful. But because of what it represented. A moment where a man chose action over surrender. Responsibility over safety. Others over himself. Leonard Funk was 5 feet 5 inches tall. 140 pounds. A former store clerk. He was not supposed to be a legend. But in the frozen snow of a Belgian village, in 60 seconds that should have ended his life, Leonard Funk showed the world what courage really looks like. Quiet. Decisive. Unforgettable. And that is why his story still matters.